What if certain thoughts, fears, and feelings you experience didn't actually originate with you? What if your soul during life could be disturbed, burdened, or diverted by subtle interferences that act without being seen? When we talk about energetic interference, we're not just talking about temporary emotions or simple moods. We're talking about something that, according to a spiritual perspective, can come into contact with our energy, influence our thoughts, weaken our will, and alter our relationship with ourselves. And the trickiest point is this: many people don't immediately realize they're being affected. They think it's all their fault, that the tiredness is normal, that the fear is normal, that the confusion is normal, that the internal block is simply part of their character. But according to this view, this isn't always the case. An interference isn't necessarily a powerful or dramatic entity. Sometimes it can be a subtle presence, a parasitic energy, a bond, a residue, an influence that attaches itself to a vulnerable part of the person. The energy parasite, in particular, is described as a being without a physical body that connects to our energy and feeds on it. And by feeding on us, it produces effects. These effects are what we can call interference. Interference, therefore, is the visible or perceptible result of something that is disturbing our internal field. It can manifest itself as sudden tiredness, as heavy thoughts, as a loss of clarity, as anxiety, as panic, as confusion, as a feeling of no longer being completely yourself. Sometimes the interference affects the emotional body. The person feels sad, irritable, fragile, vulnerable, as if something were constantly pushing them down. Other times, it affects the mind. Thoughts become repetitive, obsessive, and difficult to stop. The person may begin to ruminate, fear the future, imagine negative scenarios, and lose faith in life. In other cases still, interference can act on the will, taking away strength, initiative, and the desire to react. One of the most important aspects concerns the soul itself. According to this view, the soul has a fundamental function. It allows the spirit to connect to matter, to gain experience in incarnate life, to remember, feel, live, learn. The spirit represents what we are before incarnation. The soul, on the other hand, is what allows that spiritual spark to connect with the human experience. When the soul is free, a person feels themselves more clearly. They have inner memory. They have intuition. They have direction. They have a deeper connection with their own path. But when the soul is disturbed, burdened, or interfered with, something changes. A person may lose touch with their direction. They may feel confused, empty, out of alignment. They may feel like they're living a life that doesn't truly belong to them. They may sense a blockage, a distance, a separation from something profound. In some cases, interference can arise from energetic parasitism. In other cases, it can stem from subtle bonds, pacts, unresolved spiritual dynamics, inherited influences, or contact with severely disturbed people. Not all interferences are the same. Some are simple and temporary. Others are more ingrained. Still others can persist for years, especially if they don't understand their nature. An important thing to understand is that contact with highly energetic people can have real effects on our internal state. So, there are people who make us feel drained, tired, nervous, confused, as if we've lost energy without understanding why. According to this view, it's not always just a psychological issue. Some entities or interferences can feed not only on the person they're attached to, but also on those around them. In the most intense cases, the person carrying an interference can almost become a conduit through which other energies are drained. She doesn't always do it consciously. In fact, in most cases, she isn't even aware of it. But those who enter into a relationship with her can feel weakened, empty, burdened, or even unlucky after contact. It's important to make a distinction here. We mustn't become paranoid. Not every difficult person is a parasite. Not every bad day is an interference. Not every tiredness has a spiritual cause. But when a dynamic always repeats itself in the same way, when contact with certain people always produces the same emptying, when certain thoughts seem not to really belong to us, then it is worth observing more carefully. Another sensitive field is that of divination, cartomancy, bibliomancy, and esoteric practices. According to this view, the risk does not always lie in the technique itself. The real risk comes from how our energies are activated while we practice it, with what state of mind we do it, with what questions, how often, with what level of internal cleanliness. A person who practices only for himself runs much lower risks than someone who opens channels for others, especially if he comes into contact with people who are already disturbed or burdened. When working with subtle energies, clearing is essential. Just as a surgeon should not operate with dirty instruments, those who work on the energetic plane should not act without protection, preparation, and awareness. Because those who handle certain energies can attract attention, they can open channels, they can come into contact with presences or residues that they are unable to manage. And this is where many people make a mistake. They think that knowing a technique is enough to be able to use it. But in the subtle world, the procedure alone isn't enough. What matters is the person's energetic quality, their stability, their clarity, their level of cleanliness, their ability to distinguish benevolent from ill will. Some interference may also occur with a seemingly bright face. They can appear as guides, angels, masters, or superior presences. But according to this view, you shouldn't believe everything an entity claims to be. A presence can take on a form to inspire trust, fear, obedience, or devotion. For this reason, it's not enough to listen to the name it presents itself with. We must perceive the quality of its energy, its subtle flavor, the effect it produces on the person. Whether it brings freedom or dependence, clarity or confusion, humility or fanaticism, centeredness or dispersion. A truly positive influence shouldn't enslave you. It shouldn't isolate you. It shouldn't fuel fear, superiority, obsession, or dependence. It should bring you greater clarity, greater balance, greater love, greater responsibility, greater presence. There are also interferences related to pacts or spiritual bonds established in the past. It's not always something done in this lifetime. According to this view, some people can carry with them connections born in previous lives, especially in esoteric, ritualistic, or very intense relational contexts. A pact, a promise, a bond, a consecration, a bond protected by an entity. The person today does not remember anything, but the bond can continue to act. For example, there may be an area of life that is inexplicably blocked, a relationship that never comes to fruition, a marriage that never comes to fruition, an emotional area that is constantly disturbed, a feeling of being tied to something one doesn't understand. According to this reading, in some cases behind these blocks, there may be an entity that continues to keep active a pact that has now become meaningless, but has not yet been dissolved. This doesn't mean that every blockage is caused by a spiritual pact, but it does mean that, in an energetic perspective, certain dynamics may have deeper roots than ordinary psychology, and when the block is repetitive, inexplicable, resistant to any attempt at change, it can be useful to look at this level too. Another important topic concerns panic attacks and anxiety. They don't always have a spiritual cause. They can be psychological, physical, emotional, or biographical. And when they are intense, it's always important to seek help from a qualified professional. But according to this view, in some cases they can be linked to interferences of the fourth or sixth chakra. The fourth chakra can produce deep anxiety, emotional heaviness, and a sense of oppression in the heart. The sixth chakra can generate anguish, negative visions of the future, mental fears, altered perception, obsessive thoughts. When both dynamics are present, the person can feel literally besieged internally. Yet not everything that appears to be a problem is just a problem. Sometimes a crisis can become a doorway. A panic attack, intense fear, or a moment of collapse can push a person toward a path of growth, therapy, yoga, meditation, or spiritual exploration. In this sense, even suffering can become a calling, not because it's pleasant, but because it forces us to seek a deeper path. A very important sign of connection with the soul can be early memory. Some people remember events from when they were very young, even before the age of 3, or moments seemingly forgotten by the ordinary mind. According to this view, if these memories are not simply tied to strong emotions or traumas, they may indicate a good connection with the soul. Because the soul holds memory, the spirit brings direction. And when contact with these levels is strong, the person can have greater access to intuitions, memories, sensitivities, and inner perceptions. The soul, however, can also be disturbed by collective experiences, traumas, fears, conditioning, and external influences. When an event leaves a trail of deep sadness, heaviness, or a sense of separation, it can be helpful to ask yourself if there is anything left to process or cleanse. Not out of fear, but so as not to confuse an open wound with one's own identity. Then there is the issue of children. According to this view, young children are rarely parasitized because their energetic structure is different and still protected by certain dynamics. The phenomenon would become more common from puberty onwards, when personal energy intensifies and the subtle system becomes more exposed. However, in the rare cases where a child does exhibit interference, family, karmic, or environmental dynamics often come into play. School, crowded environments, emotionally charged places can be spaces where certain energies circulate more easily. For this reason, it is important to teach stability, presence, calm, and inner cleansing from an early age, without frightening or creating obsessions. But then how do we protect ourselves? First of all, with awareness. Knowing that certain dynamics exist, or at least being able to take them into consideration, is already a form of defense. Those who know nothing are more vulnerable. Those who observe, however, can recognize the signals. The second protection is energetic well-being. When a person is centered, clear, balanced, and present, they become less easily attached. This is why practices like meditation, prayer, yoga, breathing, heart work, and an orderly life can strengthen the personal field. These aren't magic solutions, but they create healthy soil. Tools like incense, white sage, Palo Santo, or environmental cleansing can also help improve the energetic quality of a space. Oh, they shouldn't be considered absolute shields, but they can support a state of greater cleanliness and well-being. And a cleaner environment makes it easier to remain clear-headed and less exposed. The third protection is discernment. Don't open channels lightly. Don't trust those who promise quick fixes without expertise. Don't believe every entity, guide, or message just because it seems bright. Don't confuse spirituality with addiction. Don't practice rituals without truly knowing what's happening. And above all, don't turn these issues into fear. Fear lowers, narrows, and weakens. Awareness, on the other hand, opens, illuminates, and protects. The goal isn't to live suspicious of everything and everyone. The goal is to become more present, cleaner, freer, because ultimately, the true antidote to interference is a stronger conscience. A person who knows himself, who works on his wounds, who observes his thoughts, who develops love and presence, becomes less manipulated by the invisible world. Interferences can disturb the soul. They can burden the path. They can confuse the mind. They can weaken the will. But they are no longer stronger than consciousness when consciousness awakens. The point is not to fear the invisible. The point is to learn to recognize what distances us from ourselves. Whenever something makes you more confused, more dependent, more dull, more isolated, more obsessive, stop, observe, breathe, return to center. And whenever something makes you freer, more lucid, more loving, more present, more responsible, then perhaps you are faced with a force that truly supports your path. This is the fundamental difference. True positive energies don't own you, they liberate you. They don't dominate you, they help you remember who you are. They don't separate you from others, they bring you back to the heart. And perhaps the most important spiritual work is precisely this: reconnecting with one's soul, freeing it from interference, and allowing it to once again guide life with clarity. If this video made you think, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future content. Leave a like if you want to support this work. And write in the comments if you've ever felt tired, blocked, or distracted that didn't feel right to you. See you in the next video.